FlutterFlow is gradually becoming my favorite no-code tool of choice, but it wasn't always like this. After first discovering FlutterFlow, I realized that this is a great tool, but it's missing a ton of very convenient features that are present in a lot of other tools. But still, I kept on using it. Over time, the team at FlutterFlow began to gradually roll out features that have slowly but surely improved my life as a no-code developer. And at this point, I can confidently say that with all the new features, with all the new functionality in FlutterFlow, I do not miss the previous tools that I used to use before. And so in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 awesome features of FlutterFlow that you're probably not using, but definitely should be. And I can guarantee you that by the time you finish watching the video, you're going to be using at least one or even a few of these features I'm going to be mentioning today. And make sure you watch the video until the very end, because one of these features is a feature I've been waiting for a very long time. And it's definitely one of my favorite features that FlutterFlow has released as of late. Now, before we get started, as always, all the apps that I'm going to be building in today's video are going to be available to view and or clone from my Patreon page, which you're going to find a link in the description below. Now, the first feature I want to share with you is an ability to use custom themes from an existing UI layout right inside of FlutterFlow. So here we have an app and we have a page and we have some content here. We have a container, we have a bunch of other elements, we have a button, stuff like that. Now, let's say you're browsing a site like Figma, which is an amazing site, and you're browsing various designs. Maybe one of your colleagues sends you a design, or maybe you find a design on their community and you say to yourself, well, I really like the colors in this design. And you say to yourself, I want that same look and feel inside of my app as well. Well, now you can do it. So for instance, here I am inside of Figma, and these are the designs that I've been looking at, but I can also go into community here and I can find so many other designs, really interesting designs. And let's say I'm browsing around and I decide, well, this is a really cool design. Okay, I really like this design. I really like these colors. And what I can do is first I can click on get a copy right here. And what's that going to do is that's going to move this design into my workspace. That way I can take a closer look. I can look at all the elements. I can see what's happening. But the best part of it all is that I can actually import the look and feel of this design right into my FlutterFlow app. You want to go back to your account. So you're going to go back to files here and you're going to see this design here. And what you want to do is you want to click on this upper right hand corner here. You want to go into settings. You want to scroll down and you want to create a personal access token. We can call it whatever we want, such as token 1. You're going to be given this token. You want to copy it and you want to save that token somewhere. The next thing you want to do is you want to click on this design right here that you want to replicate the look and feel of. You want to double click on it. You want to open it up. And then you want to click on copy link. You can save that here as well. Next, you want to go back to your FlutterFlow app. You want to go into settings and integrations. You want to go into theme and you want to click on import Figma theme. And here we're going to paste the file URL. So we're going to copy this right here. And we're going to paste the personal access token. This gives FlutterFlow the ability to go and fetch this theme and kind of analyze it. And then you can click on import Figma theme. You're going to wait a few seconds for it to import. And next, you're going to see all the colors that it imported. So it imported 31 colors, and these are the main colors that's used inside that Figma design. We're going to say import and continue. And now we can map the colors to our FlutterFlow theme. So we have all the colors here. This is the light mode theme, and we can click on primary and we can map it to something else. So let's say maybe this purple. We can map a secondary maybe to a lighter purple, right? And we can keep doing this for all the other colors. Then we can hit save and continue. And we can even map some of the fonts. So it's telling you some custom font families in your Figma theme have not yet been imported to FlutterFlow. And so that means that inside that Figma theme, they're using specific fonts that have not been uploaded to your FlutterFlow account. So if you want to use those custom fonts as well, such as Avenir Next LT Pro, you can simply upload it here, click continue, and then you can import those styles here. So I'm just going to hit import and continue. We can also map these fonts here, right? So assuming you uploaded the fonts here, you can pick this font here. You can pick, let's say, H2. You can go into, let's say, a body text. You can map that maybe to this body, right? Maybe that's a little too big. You can map it to something else, and then you can hit save and finish. And at this point, the import is complete. And now you can see that your light mode theme has these new colors that are specific to that Figma theme. Usually what you would need to do before is you would need to figure out the color codes for this theme, the theme that you want to use. And so you would need to go out, use a color picker and figure out the exact code for primary, secondary, etc., etc. But now we've imported the colors as well as the fonts into our theme. And now we can go back to our app. And as you can see, this thing here is set to primary. So we can set this button to primary as well. So I can go in here and I can say, well, I want it to be primary. And now, as you can see, our app has changed colors. Now it's a little kind of this purplish color, which is very, very similar to kind of what we're seeing here. So if we come in here, you can see that we have this purplish, these buttons are purplish. And that way you can browse around for various themes, professional themes, and you can actually design an app that has the same color schemes, even the same fonts as a professionally done theme. And in my opinion, that is an amazing feature because one of the things that FlutterFlow was lacking was in the design department. It was all cookie cutter. Every design looked the same as the previous design. And so if I design an app in FlutterFlow, chances are it would look very, very similar to an app that you designed. And this fixes it all. Now you can actually have a custom design for an app that you're building. And why not? If you're building a custom app, you should be able to have a custom design as well. Now, the next feature I want to share with you is a feature that I'm sure everybody has been waiting for a long time. This is a feature that was implemented relatively recently, and there's a good chance you're not using it yet. And so you definitely need to be using this feature. And so if you go into FlutterFlow and you click on Firestore DB area here, you're going to be in a place where you can define your collections, your sub collections, and stuff like that. And so what I did here is I created a collection called customers. That collection has two fields, name and price. And obviously, in order to fill this collection with various documents, I can go into my Firestore account and I can do the same inside Firestore, but there's an easier way. All you have to do is click on Manage Content here, and you're going to be redirected to a different screen that allows you to manage your data, but also, very importantly, you can upload it as a CSV. And so what I did was I created a sample spreadsheet here inside of Google Sheets. We have two fields or two columns. Name and price, we have just random names and random prices. This could be something like list of customers and a price point, maybe the last product they purchased or the total amount that they spent. Once you have this, you can go into File, Download, comma separated values. We've downloaded the file. Next, you can come back here and you can upload the CSV. You're going to select this. You're going to specify comma as the separated type. And you're also going to skip this part here because we just want to upload all the records. We're going to click on Upload CSV. And now it's previewing the data for us. So it's showing us the name column and the price column. It matched the types, string and integer. We're going to do validate and import. And now it finished the import. You can view all this data. It has all the 14 records. But you can go back into Firestore and you can see it even created this collection. So we don't even need to go into the backend ourselves to do it. We can manage and import all the data inside of FlutterFlow, which saves us a lot of valuable time. So as you can see, it imported all the data. We have 14 documents here and it set the fields properly here. So we can go back here, we can finish and close. And if you want, you can even edit this data. So you can click here, you can edit the fields, you can copy the ID, the reference ID, you can copy this, you can copy that, you can delete individual records, or you can add new documents as well. And so you have the complete ability to do importing, editing, deleting records and stuff like that without needing to go into Firestore. And this way you don't need to go back and forth between Firestore DB, your console, and FlutterFlow. And so now that we imported new records into our Firestore DB, I want to show you the next feature. And this is an amazing feature. And it's called a data table. Okay, so here we are inside a blank page here. We just have a column, app bar, and text. And what you want to do is you want to go to your column area and you can add a widget and you're going to search for data. Now, once you add this data table, you're going to see something that kind of looks like this. The beauty of this feature is that it allows you to display your data in a nicely ordered table format, which is going to be useful in various kinds of apps where you need to display some kind of ordered data. You're also going to get an error here. And if you click on that, you're going to see data table rows must be generated dynamically. And so what you need to do is you need to go into data table here and you need to create a backend query. Well, fortunately, we have our customers collection already, so we can simply go into here, query collection, pick customers, and hit confirm. And now this thing has a proper data source. It knows where to pull the data in order to display it here. Now, the next thing that you want to do, you want to maybe label these columns. So we're going to click here. We're going to say this is name. This is maybe price. Next, you can just click on your first row here, click on this area, set from variable. You can just pick customers, you can say name, and then you can come in here, customers, price, and you can even format it as a number format, and you can do custom, and you can display this currency, okay? And the next thing is to run this app and see how this is being displayed. And there's our app displaying the data in a very nice table kind of format. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other things that you can do. You can click on data table, you can edit your backend query, and you can do ordering. So let's say we want to order by, let's say we want to do name increasing. So in alphabetical order, just do that, reload your test environment, and you're going to see your data alphabetically ordered by this name component. And obviously you can customize this data table component as much as you want. You can simply click on this data table widget here and you can look at different placeholders that you have. You have this placeholder that is a container for your text. You have a header, you have other headers, and inside the headers, you don't need to have text. You can have something else. You can click on here and you can have a card, you can have another widget, you can have another container, you can have anything that you want. Now, this next feature is probably one of my favorite features out of all of them. And I can assure you, once you see what this does, you're going to be using it right away. And so we are using our data table here, and this is the result. We have the names, we have the price. Now, let's say you want to modify something. Maybe you want to add a Mr. or you want to add some kind of a prefix to a name or a suffix, or you want to do some other calculation. Well, it's very easy to do that right now. All you have to do is click on the field that you want to modify. We have it set from variable name, but we're going to change that. We're going to click here and we're going to edit this variable. And instead of pulling up the name directly, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a code expression. Okay, so if you click this, now you can make that variable, whatever variable you're working with, dynamic. And so let's say we want to do something very simple. We want to prepend the letter A to whatever the name is here. Okay, as an example, all you have to do is type A surrounded with quotes, and then you can put plus, and then you need a variable. So we're going to add an argument. It's going to be var1. We're going to type var1 here, and then we're going to specify this argument to be one of the names that we are listing in our data table. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to come to customers document. I'm going to pick name because that's kind of what we're working with. And now this name has a variable called var1, which is what we're using here. Now we can click on check for errors. We should not have any errors now, no errors. And we can also specify a return type. In this case, it's string, and so it's saying that it's optional because most of the time it's going to figure out what the return type is. So it's telling you specify the return type of the code expression if necessary. By default, this should usually be set appropriately. So it's string, it's not a list, which is kind of what we have. And so what's going to happen is instead of displaying the name here, it's going to say a space name. So let's go ahead and confirm. Let's reload our test environment. And as you can see, the names are now prepended by the letter A. Now we can also add a space just to make it easier to read. You can just add a space here, check for errors. That should be fine. Confirm. And then we can reload this. Okay, as you can see, now we have A, the name. Another thing that you can do is you can create a simple expression based on a value in a specific row. So as an example, let's say we are looking at the price column here, and if the price is greater than 50, we want to add awesome. If the price is less than 50, maybe we want to display good or something like that. That's very, very simple. We're going to take the price into account here. We're going to set price here. Now price is connected, this price here is connected to this variable. Now we can use this variable, and so we can type something like price is greater than 50, and then we can have this expression. If price is greater than 50, then just output awesome, and then the price. If price is less than or equal to 50, then just prepend it with good. We're going to check for errors here. No errors. Let's see if that works. We're going to hit confirm, reload our app here. And now we can see that it's displaying the word good or awesome depending on whether the price is greater than 50. And so this is an awesome functionality because you can do so many things with these little code expressions that before you had to do using a custom function. And I have to admit, I create lots and lots of custom functions. You've seen me create tons and tons of custom functions, but for little tweaks, little things, maybe a couple of conditions, a couple of changes, maybe clean up some string or change something around. A custom function is too much. A custom function creates a lot of overhead, and thus the ability to enter a quick code expression, something quick and easy, maybe to add a prefix, a suffix, maybe add a Mr. or a Mrs. to the name, depending on the gender. Or like I did here, I added another word, awesome or good, depending on a certain number, the price, whether it's greater or less than some amount. And this is an awesome functionality, and easily one of my favorite ones because I create tons and tons of custom functions. And yes, I realize that it's important to create custom functions to customize the app, but if there was a way of me of not creating a custom function every time I want to make a small change, then I would be all for it. And thankfully now you can do it. And this is just the beginning. There's so many things you can do with these code expressions. You can, manipulate the data. You can change things around. It's a great feature. And I promise you that regarding what kind of app you're building, whether it's very, very simple to something more complex, you are going to be using this feature instantly. It's that important and it's that good. Last but not least, I want to show you another feature that you're definitely going to be using or should be using if you are taking any kind of input from your users. And so here I have another page, and what I plan on doing here is to take some kind of input from the user. So here I have a text field, I have an input field here, and I have a submit. Now in this input field, we're just getting a name, so it's called input name, the input field. But what makes this special is that all of these fields are wrapped inside a form. And when you have things wrapped inside a form, you can do validation. So if I click on form here and I scroll down, I can turn on validation, which is the last kind of setting here. I can turn this off or I can turn it on. Once I do that, it's going to list the form elements, the input elements that support validation. So in this case, it's the input name. I can choose it. And I can list an error message. I can, specify the minimum required characters. I can specify the maximum allowed characters. So let's say we are inputting a name. We want at least 5 characters, right? And so in many cases, you may want to make sure that, your user is inputting something that has a minimum number of characters. Maybe it's a complaint form, maybe it's a survey, maybe it's something that requires, a couple of sentences at least to be usable. Maybe it requires a couple of paragraphs. You would definitely need to have a condition here that guarantees that they're not just entering like 1 letter or 2 letters or just a blank field. And so this makes it very, very easy. So I made sure that the field is required. We require a minimum of 5 characters here. Doesn't matter of the maximum. And here you can specify the text validator. So we can validate the username, email, website, custom regex. And so in this case, we're just going to leave it at none, and we're going to run the app and see how it works. All right, so here's our page, and right away we are seeing that field is required. And so if I start typing something like James, J-A-M-E, it's telling me requires at least 5 characters. So if I type James, now it's 5 characters, and there are no issues. I can just hit submit. Now, one of the more powerful things about this is if you pick a custom regex, and here you can specify a custom regex. Now, if you're not sure what a regex is, regex stands for regular expressions, and that is a way to specify a pattern that the text in question needs to match for the condition to be true. And so if you're not familiar with regular expression, you want to learn more about them, you can simply Google. Here's a really nice site called regex1, where you can learn about regular expressions because they're used everywhere. And so as an example, let's say we want to make sure that the input contains exactly 5 digits. Well, you can come here and you can see that /d is any digit. But you could also put something inside of curly braces, which is going to specify the number of repetitions. And so if we enter something like this, /d, and then 5 inside curly braces, that should hopefully match exactly 5 digits. So let's run the app and try this out. All right, so here's our app, and we created a custom regex to match exactly 5 digits. So if I enter some digits here, I can see that if I enter 5 5s, I'm not getting any error messages. But if I enter anything else, invalid text. And so this is extremely useful for filtering what kind of data you're willing to accept. So things like birthdays, things like credit card numbers, things like maybe zip codes. There's a lot of structured data that must exist in a specific format for it to be valid. If it doesn't conform to that specific format, then that data may be completely invalid and can be absolutely useless to us. And so this is an amazing feature because you are forcing the user to give you valid data that you can actually work with. And so definitely make sure you are using form validation anytime you're accepting data from your users, at least in situations where you actually care about the data being valid. Now, if you guys are interested in taking your no-code knowledge to the next level, you're interested in taking it seriously, maybe you're interested in learning how to build apps, or maybe you're interested in building that one app you've been putting off for a while now. Maybe this is a special app that you really, really want to build, or you want to build multiple apps. Because the fact of the matter is that with tools such as FlutterFlow at your disposal, you can easily build multiple apps in a fraction of the time that it used to take people to do it before. So regardless what your goal is, if no code is something that you're definitely serious about, then you definitely want to check out my Patreon page. Not only will you be able to view and or clone all the apps that I've built on this channel and all the apps that I'm going to be building in the future, they're all out there on my Patreon page. You will also get extra content such as my Q&As, live streams, my behind the scenes content, and my exclusive series of masterclass episodes where I dive deep into a specific topic area that a lot of people are having trouble with. And so I recently released another masterclass. It's also available on my Patreon page, and the topic for that specific masterclass was chosen as a result of member voting. Plus, by joining my Patreon, you will also be supporting this channel and supporting my work. And so if no code is something that you are even remotely serious about, I definitely urge you to check out my Patreon page and consider becoming a member. And so that will do it for today's video. I really hope you guys have gotten value here. By now, you guys know which one of these is my favorite and the one I'm going to be using very often. But let me know in the comments below which one of these you are excited about using in your future FlutterFlow apps. Perhaps there's just one, or maybe there's few of them. I would love to hear about it. Also, let me know if you have any questions or comments. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you real soon.